I said, "Oh, see, they are, because I know it's what Sherry, but it's somebody that just be a.
It's the first band.
Yeah. There's some people.
There's a lot, yeah.
They got it, yeah, I think it's.
Yeah, it might have been.
I mean, why? With some.
Where I work.
Yeah. Oh, the thing about how they just. What was that? I was right in now. You're going.
No, I know, it's Wisconsin, but it's
A nice restaurant.
so there's the time lot. So it's like right now.
Okay.
So that, we haven't had something like that holiday, it's like, well, what, that was that big. Yeah, and so that, well, that's not a lot of time on. There was people behind that, and it's not any, that burned down. Oh, that burned down.
I remember. I think it's the whole set, but. Okay. Happens to a lot of those places.
Yeah. And then there's a lot.
It's a little spiritual.
Right there on the.
Maybe direct you.
So you got.
Yeah, it seemed like it's always old or something. I'm very sure. Yeah, what's it called?
About 35 long.
Okay. 30 years. We still.
I'm gonna go.
Well, I see.
Anyway.
There's. That's always.
Everybody is for you, try to figure it out. I don't have to. Yeah, another. Yeah.
Like those are just.
No.
Yeah.
Is there?
Getting up to the ship, like,
Yeah, boys.
on the weekend, it's that. Well.
Yeah.
And there's.
No.
Move your Wednesday.
Oh,
And be late in. There's another show.
Okay.
Yeah.
Everybody's like. Never did that.
No, I appreciate that. That's what I'm doing, that's fine. I just never had that. I mean, it's not just the one she got. I was there.
We were up there for a high class. And never actually, this is so nice. It was so long.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so.
You do it nonstop.
I never. Yeah. So we.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks.
For your attendance this evening. Tonight's first order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for being here this evening, and we welcome you to tonight's meeting of the Planning Commission. We're a group of local residents, your neighbors, appointed to serve the community by reviewing development proposals and land use matters in accordance with the city's ordinances. As a quasi-judicial body, our role is not to advocate for or against any proposal, but rather to ensure that each application is reviewed based on the facts presented, applicable law, and the policies established in our comprehensive plan. Our goal is to uphold a process that is fair, transparent, and consistent. Public hearings are a vital part of this process, and they provide opportunities for community members like you to speak, share concerns, and offer input into the public record. Your comments are important and help us shape the future of Credit River. So the following is just the general order for events with public hearings. We'll have staffs present a summary of the project along with the staff report and findings. Commissioners may ask questions. following that presentation, and then the applicant will have the opportunity to speak and respond to questions from the commission. Then we'll open it up for public comment, and if you choose to speak, please make sure when you come to the podium to clearly state your name and address for the record and limit your comments to 3 minutes. After public comment, we'll close the public hearing, at which time commissioners may have additional questions or discussion. And just one note for everybody, the planning commission doesn't have the authority to approve or deny an application. We're a recommending body only. And so final decisions are made by the city council after considering our recommendations. So with that, I would like a motion to approve or amend tonight's agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
All those in, do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We have one item on the consent agenda, and consent agenda items are considered under one motion and vote, as they are usually considered non-controversial. The items that are included in tonight's consent agenda are the minutes of the August 21st, 2025 Planning Commission meeting. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda for tonight?
I move that we approve the consent agenda for tonight as presented.
Any second?
I'll second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, up next is our public hearing for this evening. Interim use permit application for accessory dwelling unit at 856 165th Street East. Planning Commission members have received a number of documents for this request, which have also been posted online for consideration. And so to start with, I'd like staff to just go ahead and summarize the report.
Good evening. So yeah, as was mentioned, this is an interim use permit request for an accessory dwelling unit within an existing detached accessory structure at 8056 165th Street East. This is in the Urban Expansion Reserve District, and the lot measures almost nearly 10 acres, but in the survey it's about 9.8. So let me see here. This isn't allowed interim use in the UER district, so at this point you would just be looking to add conditions. We kind of recommended a few in here, but just for the purpose of establishing that this is an allowed use and it generally meets the general requirements for both interim use permits and accessory dwelling units. Those are both separately regulated in the zoning ordinance. Between pages 10 and let's see, 13 of the packet, we go line by line for each of those requirements for both. And as far as we can tell, it meets all of those. So with the interim use permit side of things, the property would be served by private well and septic, and the pole barn has its own meter for electricity, so there are no anticipated impacts to public utilities. The pole barn and the addition appear to be adequately screened from neighboring residential properties. The applicant had intended on this addition matching the rest of the existing structure, so no concerns there. This is intended to be resided in by family of the property owner, which is a requirement for, it's more so the ADU side of things, but we can see if there's anything else. Accessory dwelling units are permitted in detached structures on lots over 5 acres, so it does meet that requirement. And in the ADU code, it does outline what sorts of rooms are allowed in the ADU and their square footages, and we found that it meets those requirements. So with that, without going, through every single thing, we find that it meets all regulations. Staff recommends approval with a few conditions, and if I can go through this now or following the public hearing.
We can go through those following the public hearing. So, all right. Is the applicant or a representative here? Please approach the podium. Good evening.
Hello. I don't know if there's any questions or just kind of
Is
talk
there
through it.
anything you'd like to share with us about this particular project that you would like to call attention to?
Sure. The project, the main goal is for my parents. They live in Florida full time. They do come back for the summers, but kind of living out of a suitcase and visiting kids around here. Obviously, we live in Credit River. My brother and sister both live in Prior Lake. Between the three of us kids, we have 2 kids each, so 6 grandkids. My parents lived in Creekwood for 10 years, and so they're very familiar with the area as we're on that same street that connects there. And we just offered to do something like this to give them a place to basically call home during the summertime. And if they come back maybe a week over Christmas or something like that. But other than that, they're in Florida, 9, 10 months of the year, or 8, 9 months. And yeah, it's something that we were excited about to have our grandkids that close to their grandparents. And they're excited to be there, assuming obviously it works out. So
Thank you very much.
yeah.
All right, at this time, we will open it up for the public hearing. Is there any member of the public who wishes to speak or ask questions about this particular application for interim use permit? Any questions or comments? Going 3 times. All right, with that, can I get a motion to close the public hearing?
I move that we close the public hearing.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries. Planning commission members, do you have any specific questions at this time? I had one, but it's a learning opportunity.
Not so much a specific question, but there's a publication I get called the Scott Scene. This is the fall 2025 issue. And they had a article that I thought was very interesting and kind of timely at this point, talking about families benefit from accessory dwelling units. And I thought it was a well-written article, and it's talking about what the county is doing primarily for the townships and when they're trying to making things a little easier for them to have ADUs put in. But I think it was very good because it says the primary reason that they build ADUs is that are intended not as a rental income generator, but as a lifeline for families, place for aging parents who live close by, for adult children needing a stepping stone, or for caregivers providing essential support. After reading the article and of course seeing what's being presented tonight, I'm assuming that maybe we may in the future see some more of these.
Are there other questions that the planning commission members have? The only one I have is, with regard to the interim use permit and reference to time. So there's a couple of different ways that could play out. I didn't see a specific reference to a date, but just the concept of a date on the calendar. But also a triggering event or something of that nature, being a point at which maybe an interim use permit could be terminated if conditions aren't being met. But is there a recommendation that you have in this instance or generally about that as a condition?
Just like scenarios in which the interim use permit would be terminated.
Yeah, or are we seeing scenarios where we do put a specific date on related to an accessory dwelling unit, or is it more how use of the property may change
I would say,
or transfer of ownership?
yeah, I would say more so the latter. We had an interim use permit come through, I think last month with that tattoo parlor, and we had decided not necessarily to have a timeline attached to that. It was more so just if the business had changed or if they moved and sold the property. So those conditions are outlined in here. So it does acknowledge the date, hypothetical date, just because that's language is taken from the interim use permit code. But otherwise, it's more so related to, if the property is rezoned, sold, if the ADU is no longer occupied by a family member, that would require them to take out the kitchen appliances and plumbing equipment, so it cannot be used as an ADU anymore. So that's more so, I think, the enforceable side of things than saying, in 2 years you can't use it this way anymore. You need to come back to the city to continue this use. I just find that kind of not super necessary for this sort of use.
Overly burdensome.
A little bit, yeah.
So, the only other question is, could you go ahead and kind of walk through some of those conditions that have been recommended with this particular, interim use permit, given, the findings of fact that were outlined?
Of course. So this is found on page 14 of the packet, page 6 of my staff report. Just to go down the list, so number one, the accessory dwelling unit must comply with all necessary city, county, state, and federal regulations, especially pertaining to building and fire codes in this case. That's predominantly tied into the building permit that they went through in order to get the addition in the first place, so I'm not overly concerned about that. Otherwise, the project shall be completed and maintained according to the submitted plan specifications and narrative outlined in the staff report and through the narrative that was submitted as a part of the application. So any changes to that proposed use would require an IUP amendment, which is pretty typical. We put that language in with all interim use permits and conditional use permits. The applicant had mentioned the intention of putting in new septic system to support kind of the extra residential uses in the accessory structure in addition to the existing home. So they would need to obtain approval for that septic system through Scott County. No individuals shall occupy the accessory dwelling unit until that septic system is good to go. The accessory dwelling unit should not be subdivided or otherwise segregated in ownership from the principal dwelling, so it must stay all packaged together. This is really intended to be an accessory use to the family that is living on the property. There shall be annual verification that the persons living in the accessory dwelling unit are family members. Might need to talk to Steve or someone on how we would actually enforce that, but that is also language taken from the code. That's a required condition as a part of this. Like I mentioned, all kitchen appliances and or plumbing equipment shall be removed once the ADU is no longer occupied by a family member. Number 7 is all of those conditions in which this ADU interim use permit would expire. We already covered that, and then any violation of these conditions would result in the revocation of this IUP.
All right, are there any other questions, comments, suggestions on conditions that the planning commission members want to discuss?
It's pretty much all spelled out in the ordinance, so.
At this time, then I would be looking for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the application for the IUP.
Subject to the conditions.
To the conditions.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second? Oh,
All right.
I'll second.
Don't trip over yourselves, gentlemen. It's all good. All right,
Aye.
motion and second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
aye.
Motion carries. With that, we do not have any general business on our agenda for this evening. May I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
Second?
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful evening.
Good to see you. Yes.
Back and have some fun, huh? Oh,
Yeah, maybe just adding a little bit about.
Oh, you got You're never leaving any of these brands and stuff. As are you. Yeah.
Steve,